Everybody, it's Linda G coming to you on a Saturday morning, a little overcast here in Northern California. And today I have Debra Zachau. I had to ask her how you pronounce your name.
Any way you
Anyway,
say it, it's magic to me, girlfriend.
I say I've known Debra for a while, on and off, mostly at a distance. She has some cards called the Clarity cards. You guys have seen me use them. I've gone through so many decks. So my cards, I just wore them out and she's sending me another deck, but you can go on Amazon. Listen, below this video, we'll have the list of all her goodies that she sells and does. And she's also a numerologist, and she just told me something really interesting about Maxwell Giselle.
Yep, yep. I've got some numbers to share with you.
Awesome. So
Sure.
listen, okay, intro, girlfriend.
Intro. Thank you so much. I've been doing metaphysics for a long time, but really concentrated on my YouTube channel the last couple of years. And while I was doing YouTube, I was creating decks and books, and I decided to change to I'm an indie author now because the Decode Tarot, the one book Decode Tarot, which I don't have one right on me, but and then the Clarity Tarot, they're traditionally published. And I wanted my own thing, but I wanted it a fiction book. So I created a kid's book that when life knocks you off, you're happy. And the reason I bring this up so soon is because of the numbers. Now, I'm using a pen name, D.A. Mintaka, because if I use my own name, I wanted to separate my kids' books from my
Right.
spiritual books.
Right.
And but to create this book, it's a chapter book for kids and facing challenges for the first time. And I thought, how am I going to frame these stories? And I thought numerology.
Okay.
So the very I didn't advertise this, but when people purchase it, young or old, the first chapter is going to be a life path one. Fifth chapter is going to be a life path five. So they're the most likely challenges for that energy child, you know. So if you know
Right.
the secret and everything, but I do private readings as well. I don't say that as often as I should, but I always include numerology in the readings because it makes so much sense. You're able to actually understand if you know someone's birth date and their life path number, you will know how they filter information. If you know how they filter information, you can have the right combination of words to serve them well, whether it's a reading or someone wanting to jump off a cliff, right? And you say, oh,
Right.
I have a few seconds to change that person's mind to a new perspective. And numerology has done it every time for me. So I love to share.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
And as you know, I'm a life path one.
A
But
lot, yeah.
can you also tell what their year is going to be like? Like this year, what's this year for me?
So it depends. So how you have your personal year. So every calendar year has blessings and shadow
Challenges.
sides. Yeah, challenges, right? So if you know what's coming, then you can stay the observer and not the victim.
Right.
And so it only goes in 9-year cycles. So even if you add up these numbers in the way I'm going to tell you, you add up those numbers and let's say it's an 11, it's still a 2 personal year lessons, but when you get a double digit, it means that it's a spiritually based year.
Wow.
You have to, in an 11-2 personal year, you need to make sure your ethics, morals, spiritual balance is intact when you learn about communicating with others or relationships, mastering.
Wow.
But how you do that is just your month and your day of birth plus the current year. So what's the month and day of your birth?
910,
So that's
and it's 2025.
so that's
I'll be
9.
72 this year.
So you are in a 1 because I add up 9 and 1, 1 and 10, that's a 19, right? And then I'm going to add 9 to it. So that comes out as 19. You go 1 plus 9 is 1. It's a one personal year for you. So everything's going to be new,
Oh,
opportunities
wow.
coming in. But life has this is the only shadow side of it because it's really if you play loose and you'll have a lot of opportunities. But give yourself permission to start new things and quit new things.
Okay.
As soon as you think, oh, this isn't working for me, drop it. That's the trick to a one personal year. And
Right. Well,
yeah,
last year, or was it last year or the year before, I stopped doing personal readings.
that would be 9. That would be like last. I know you haven't done that for a while and you were phasing out,
Yeah,
but
because it
not
was just too much.
that's a 9 personal year is all about giving up what doesn't work for you anymore. If
Okay.
you were to, because we have free choice, if you were to say, no, I really am needed in the whatever your reasoning is, I should do this because of that. If you would have drug that into the next year, I guarantee you everything around it will just collapse.
Really?
Yes, your energy signature will completely change in your presence on YouTube. If
Wow.
the same thing with it, it's like when you're with a low down cheating daddy and you come to your 9 personal year and you drag that 9, that low down cheating daddy into the 1 personal year, it's
Yeah.
not going to get better. And it'll set up the next 9 year cycle into being challenging. So
Wow.
you did the right thing. It was a leap of faith and you did the right thing.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to post below all the links to all her goodies.
Thank you so much.
And do you love numerology?
You know why I love it?
Why?
Because when I was working on the hotlines, I don't do that much anymore. I needed to ask, because every reading is recorded for the consumer. And I always ask, what's your first name and birthday? And I only ask the birthday. I'm not an astrologer. I wanted to know what that I was on record they're over 18. That's the only reason why I asked it. And then I thought, why don't I figure out this numerology stuff? So I did. And what the books say, I started putting into action. Well, I learned that the assumption of a 5 life path or what's written about a 5 life path isn't for everyone. It shifts and changes and morphs. And I discovered at what point it does. For instance, Elon Musk
Yeah.
and Vladimir Vladimir Putin and Roger Stone are all sevens, life path
Whoa.
sevens. So what the two numbers that make up that life path is what tells you how extreme it is. For instance, Elon Musk is a 34/7. So the two numbers prior is what their life lessons are. So it makes him very stubborn, the 4. The 4 is a stubborn kind of, you have to master that to, if you master your little lessons, they're big lessons in your lifetime, you can grow into your full potential. Just being famous is not growing into your full potential.
No.
We'll just disclaimer that. The thing is that he's a 34, which means the 4 is being stubborn and the 3 is creativity. He's stubborn about his creativity. Roger Stone's a 25/7, which makes him, am I getting that right? I think I am. Let me just check one more time with Roger Stone. Um, because I remember it was the opposite. Oh no, Vladimir Putin is the 25. That's right. Roger Stone is the 34. So he's stubbornly creative. Um, Roger Stone. Putin is 25/7, which makes him volatile. But I just only because 5 is fractious and 2 is having your tribe. So it's expressed differently, just like the number life path 2. Biden and Mitch McConnell are both 2 life paths with the same life lessons. And
Wow.
look at how different they are.
Oh, yeah.
Look at how different they are. So it
Well,
can,
Vladimir Putin, I feel, is getting ready to exit stage left. I'm feeling stronger now than I ever have.
I think the crazy like we're seeing in our this administration, but I do believe it's mental.
Yeah,
It's truly physical, mental stuff that is happening with ours. I think the same thing's happening with him, but he has more control. Putin has more control than Trump does. So,
right. What's Trump's numbers?
four, same with Trump Jr. Donald Jr. is a four as well. So 31-4, which means independent and creative. So he's taken that to a big degree.
Right. And how about Zelensky?
Are Zelensky and Navalny.
Oh,
Uh,
I love Navalny.
yeah, 33
His
left.
birthday's coming up pretty soon.
Mhm. I have a video on the challenges of a life path 33, and we have a few of them, but not they're kind of rare. I've got
So they're almost like big energy forms.
I know.
Famous, very famous.
And master number is born if you're 11, 22, 33, 44, 5, 55. And I'm writing a book on this so it'll be easier. It's a funny book, so it'll be easier to learn, I think. But all the master numbers are born with this feeling under the gun to do something big for the world. So whatever they're doing, they might be doing jewelry, right? Oh, I'm going to make this jewelry, but in their mind they're thinking, I'm going to make sure that this jewelry is infused with love and will say a portion of it will save the ocean. And I'm going to market it this way. You see what I'm saying? It's big,
Yeah.
worldwide. So um, we've got Tom Cotton, Chris, Kristen Sinema, George
Oh,
Bush,
wait, she's a 33?
Kristen. Yeah,
I
it's
hate her.
and for her, she was having an eight personal year when she was doing all that give me the money stuff. So and that was
She
it. We've
sold
got
out. Yeah.
Rudy Giuliani,
Oh boy, he sold out
Marco
too.
Rubio. So they're going to take their crazy out to the world. And the thing is, the benefit they have in this lifetime is that life is opening that door for them to give them an opportunity to choose well.
But if they don't, they'll crash hard.
Yeah, they will. And I also have Elizabeth Warren and uh, Primala Jayapal, her, the
Yeah.
good one. Yeah, and so so anyway, that's and then we've got Zelensky and Navalny, they're all in good company, but it's how you make your choices. This is a planet of free choice, girl.
And
So, and
with
we have
Zelensky and Navalny, it wasn't easy. They weren't handed
the
anything.
bravery. The
Zelensky looks so old now compared to how he was when he first got in. He's
I know,
fighting so hard. And by the way, in the meantime, Russia's hitting civilians, of course,
I know.
but they're hitting back. They're hitting a lot of places that are going to affect their abilities. So he's going, and you remember Zelensky said out loud, Putin is going to be dead pretty soon. And I think he knows what he's talking about.
I think so too. I think so too. But what's going to replace him? Just like when our administration, you were speaking earlier about JD Vance moving if something happens. I'm hoping this is what I'm hoping. I know I would just like to get rid of Trump for sure, but I don't want him to like pass away in office because then he's a martyr and then
Yeah.
everybody soldiers with it
But also,
blindly.
JD Vance is not beloved at all.
Well, yeah,
His numbers are worse than Trump's.
I didn't realize that, really.
Yeah, it's horrible. He's the worst rated vice president ever. And I don't see, I mean, people are saying, is this a plan? Are they trying to get Trump out so JD Vance and I don't feel it. That's what I'm going to say out loud. I don't feel it. There's certain things I know and certain things I can only tell you I'm not feeling it. Maybe I see Trump not necessarily winning, but being able to disengage from. from um Elon. I also see that his Doge people might be under attack pretty soon from the administration,
I
like
hope.
their security clearances, because if you think about it, if they've been having meetings, they would be saying, we don't need his insiders telling him what we're doing.
Yeah, because it's
So
going to be
it'd be
leaking.
easier just to cut them all out.
It's going to be leaking out. But what they've seen, they've already seen, right? I'm
Yeah,
sorry, my bird in the background is calling the police with his bell. I'm sorry. Um,
I can't hear it.
oh, good. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, and so there are so many young, wild, fascist eyes that have been
Yeah.
upon through Elon, been upon our sensitive information and Trump's sensitive information, that there's no way all of that Epstein thing is going to stay undercover.
No, it's definitely coming out.
No way. Yeah.
And Pam Bondi's in trouble.
Yeah, she's not looking very good.
What's going to happen, I think, is the Bar Association may remove her license.
It'll be interesting to watch that because I
Yeah,
think that's our paradox because I felt that our judicial system failed us for so long.
I know.
And so I kind of don't trust it. I know there's not very many alien cannons around. So if they are able, just like Harvard, if they're able to stand up and say no, then I don't know. I think there's sanctions they can do. I don't know if they would feel comfortable removing a license, but I think there's sanctions and it's something they can do to say, hey, whoa, whoa, Nelly. I think,
Right.
so
Well, like I told you earlier before we went live, I think this whole thing with Garcia coming back to the United States, I think this is my psychic hit. It's a setup.
yeah, he's
They
gonna,
did that so they could have a reason to bring him back, okay, and not work against the Supreme Court. But also, they got people that they gave some. I tell you what, we won't deport you if you lie and say that he was transporting other. It's all a big lie. That's what I heard.
yeah, I think what he's gonna do is come back, see a magistrate right away, and he's not gonna be free to go. He's gonna be in jail or whatever, waiting for whatever. And I do believe it's gonna be a bit of a circus, his
Oh, you
trial.
can get a grand jury to indict a bologna sandwich.
I always had my trust in grand juries because
No, grand juries, you feed them anything like that. Pam Bondi probably they did overkill. And he did this, and we have people saying he did this. They don't have to have proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
I did see one cop video. I mean, a video of the cop that stopped him that night with the van full of. Now, some people think they're just going to work. That's what I was hearing, that he was driving these immigrants to go to a contracting job, a carpenter job. But when I saw the video of the guy, that policeman who assumed that he's trafficking, it was nighttime. It was dark. And so I don't know how much of it isn't true, but I know that not all of it is true for sure.
Right. I just feel it's going to linger and linger, and that by the time they come to any conclusions, Trump is already out of office.
Oh, that's an interesting. I'm going to write that one down.
Yeah.
It'll just go on and on and on.
Yeah. But I just think a lot of what they're going to find out is a lot of the people are lying.
Mm.
And when they find out people are lying, then they can throw out all evidence.
This is a 9 universal year, Linda, and it means that everyone around the world has to give up what doesn't work for them anymore. And what doesn't work for them anymore is going to become so ridiculously clear through drama and chaos that you finally say, okay, I'm going to stand in this corner. I wanted to stay in the middle and kumbaya, but I can't. I have to go to this for my own morality, my own ethics, I need to stand over to one side or the other. And people resist it because we'd like to think we're all love and light.
Right.
But but it's happening all over the world as well. There's uprisings for democracy, but it's more it's more consequential. There's more bombs. There's more, driving cars through people and things like that. So, but it has to be that way. When people,
And the weather too. Does numerology have anything to do with the weather?
no, I can't predict. I can predict someone's behavior in a situation, what they're most likely to say and do, or their thought patterns on how they make choices. I'm very good at that. As far as predicting weather or now events, I can predict events like people events by
Hmm.
knowing the people's numbers.
Okay.
And then I can say, okay, they're going to lean this way or that way. I can do that. But as far as the weather goes, man, is it weird.
Another
California is,
volcano went off last night.
oh, really?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of where it was. It was on Facebook, but the volcanoes are gone. Remember when I did my 2025? Probably one of the first things I said is we're going to get volcanoes, volcanoes,
Yeah.
volcanoes.
And what that means is earthquakes, because that's what
Yeah.
makes everything move. I mean,
Oh,
our,
there's a lot of earthquakes. There's a lot of sixes and sevens. Greece just had one.
oh my gosh. The you're in Northern California, I'm in
Yes.
Southern. All of last year was much cooler than
Right now it's cooler up here.
I know, me too. The West Coast seems under clouds
And
and
something, I don't know what it was, but they were talking about it on Facebook, but something's happening in Southern California and Mexico with some sort of weather pattern that could cause more hurricanes, etc.
yeah, back east, right? Because it's a jet stream.
No, no, it's something that's coming off the coast of up Mexico into Southern California. They
Oh,
said it should be here in the next couple of weeks. So we'll
well,
see.
whenever there's a hurricane in Mexico, we get it. I mean, we don't
Yeah.
get the hurricane,
Or
but
the
we get the
remnants.
humidity. The what? The remnants.
The
Yeah,
remnants. Yeah.
right.
So what other projects besides writing books and doing the cards?
Well, I am I gotta tell you, my whole I'm so like a squirrel with shiny objects because right now I'm so involved with my the book of numerology. People have been asking for it. And I did write like 440,000 words. I dusted it off and I thought, oh, I'll just flower this up, and so I went to start the edit on this book I've already completed, my first edit. It was so boring. It was so boring. I couldn't. So now what I'm doing is taking that information and going line by line and making it happier and
Oh,
funner.
that's excellent.
Yeah, so it's going to be I hope, because it's scary doing comedy, but I hope that it lands well and people get to learn about themselves in a lighthearted way and nobody gets all puffed up that, oh, that's not me.
Yeah,
Just entertain the thought. The main thing is that if you know yourself, you can, and you're settled with it and you're happy with yourself, then the people around you are going to benefit
right.
from that. And my
Exactly.
goal is to have a line of evergreen products that are all my own that I can go back and relax about readings. Now, I'll tell you like this. I love doing private readings. I like
Yeah,
it a lot. The thing is that it goes up and down. It's my own business, right? It's a service. It goes in and out of favor. So if I have this book, the kids book, and then the numerology book that's all mine that I've published,
yeah,
then I have a little more stable background. So that's what I am stable financially is what I'm going for. Just being raw and real. It's so that I'm really focused on that right now, so I can relax and really, when clients come in, it's great versus going on every time saying, please pick me. I know the answer to your future. I just, I don't like that at all. I don't
right,
like,
right,
Oh, yeah. So, and when I do a reading, it's like it's it's a standalone. You're going to get your numbers, how you think, so you can choose differently, and then you're able to go out and do your life, make your choices, and
right,
people
right.
got it on their own. Empowering.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. What are you doing?
Oh, girl, I'm just cray cray. I'm old, so I'm tired. So my idea of a good time is laying around at home.
Yeah, I gotta say I'm right about where you are.
Yeah, I
Rising.
meet so many wonderful people.
Mm.
And all the readers, I do my duty as far as because the guide said when I first started, they said, you got to get more people in here.
Oh,
So I said, anybody that has some talent here, join on board, start it. So there's a lot of people out there, like I got Sterling started.
oh, wonderful. I
Yeah,
didn't
I
know that
met him
history.
through his wife. I did a reading for his wife, and she was telling me he predicted that Trump would win the first time. She was so mad.
I know.
I said, I think he's got the gift. So I talked, he's a genius, as you know.
Mhm.
So I talked to him and I said, and I think I would have him on as a guest. And he was getting so popular. I said, start your own channel. And he did. He started his own channel. And as you know, it's taking off.
I'd be curious what his life path number is, because to me, with his actions, because he's so he doesn't have a lot of emotion. He doesn't put emotion first. It's
Yeah, well,
structured,
he's one of those genius types.
very structured. I'm thinking as a seven life path. I'm just thinking that.
Right.
But
His wife is really wonderful too.
oh, what a team. What
They're
about
very
Andre?
good friends and they went through those fires. Oh my God, I don't know how they could stand it. I did too up here for the
Mhm.
first set of fires in Northern California, and that's why I broke the bank and paid $15,000 for a Generac generator.
Right.
That's big enough that even the air conditioning would stay on.
That's so smart.
And let me tell you, best purchase I ever made, even better than a car. It's wonderful.
Have you had to use it?
I tell you that if right now the power goes off on us, it'd be one, two, three, boom, back on.
Oh, whoa.
So the poor guy, he wanted to get, he's of course, he gets the Cadillac, the super size because they got a bigger house than me,
Yeah.
of all generators and everybody and their neighbor. I got mine just when it was starting to come out. And now everybody and their neighbor wants one.
Right,
But
right.
be careful, you guys, because I talked to someone and Generac sent them to me, somebody down here, somebody where I live. And he came in, he took a look, he said, okay, yeah, it'll be 30,000. And I thought, whoa, and solar was like 60,000. So I said, yeah, let me think on that. And then I had Generac come out and talk about solar. They kind of were pushing, hey, we're the salespeople, and they were here local. And he told me about it. It was going to be like 48,000. I said, yeah. What I really wanted though was a Generac, direct gas.
Oh,
And the guy said, oh yeah, we do those. I said, you're kidding. I said, well, how much for this house for the size? Oh, 15,000. Ah. I said, well, why did this other guy coming from Generac say, oh, it was 30? He said, sometimes they do that. They're not really interested in the job and they just throw an outrageous amount.
serious? Someone
Yes,
not interested in it.
yes.
Oh my God.
So, and by the way, they got after all those fires and they were out of power
Oh,
weekly. And then they got their Generac in. And
oh,
I'll tell you, it makes you more comfortable. Just like
yes.
I got the shoring of the house. A lot of my watchers, when I told them the name of the place, because if you're up here in Northern California, these people come out, these engineers, and they shore your house to the foundation for earthquake proof,
Right.
and you get discount on your earthquake insurance.
I bet.
But if they say my name that Linda recommended, I get $100 in the mail.
Nice.
I said, oh hell yeah.
Oh,
Lunch is on me, you guys.
just no matter what you want. You want a car, just go some. Linda Grindle sent me.
Yeah, tell him Linda G said, let's
Here's
put
her
like
ad-
sweet Nate. He said,
here's her
Linda,
address. Give her $100.
I I was on Nate's show and I tell people because everybody's so booked.
Yeah.
A lot of people are booked, and I had the opportunity of a reading. Arthur, Arthur is really good
Mhm.
too. Mel's good. Mel's been going through a lot of trouble, just can't,
Yeah.
trying to catch up with the ones he has.
Yeah.
Um, Marina, all these guys are so good. Anyway, so he said when it first happened, he had his phone on. You could hear it beep when some. He said it just beeped all night. He does some sort of read that takes 2 hours to do. He said
It's
it's so intense, and he
Nate.
sold like 50 of those.
Oh, what?
He got so booked and he said, Linda, you got to be on when you're reading. I said, you don't have to tell me twice.
Yeah.
And he said, I just really concentrated, but now he's got it to where he's more comfortable, just like with me.
Mhm.
I posted that I was doing readings in the year 2024. At
Yeah.
the end of 2023 on Wix, I opened it up and it sold out within
Yeah.
48 hours.
Yeah.
So my
Right.
whole year was, and if I had to change something, it was a big pain in the pachikas. That's why I said, you know what? Oh,
Right.
and the other thing, I could have done like 2 month increment. I didn't need to do it like that. But
Sure. Well, that's good to know.
lesson learned.
You're amazing. And
Well, now what kind of because what kind of readings do you do? Because your phone's going to start blowing up.
oh, thank you. I do just a 30-minute reading, half an hour or hour reading, and it can be on any topic whatsoever. And so if you wanted to learn numerology one-on-one, I can do that, or predict, regular crisis-based sort of reading, do any of that. But I also have the soul awareness, which is Akashic work, which is it comes in two sections. Excuse me. I sell the smaller section independently. It's called the soul profile. And what that tells me, when I have certain information from you, I that tells me your planet of origin, because when you are a spark from God, first spark from God, you landed somewhere in the
Yeah.
universe. And so when you grow up for the first time somewhere, you get those traits and blessings and knowledge from that one place. So there's that information. There's whether you're a walk-in soul or a
Oh,
mono.
yeah. Ruth Montgomery used to talk about. Oh, Abraham Lincoln was a walk-in.
Yes, yes. Now they're rare, and it doesn't mean that their life is easier as a walk-in,
Oh,
because
no.
one thing about walk-ins that you'll get to know if you decide you are one through. And let me explain what it is. It means there's two souls living the same incarnation at
Right.
different.
I'm not a walk-in.
But the thing is that there's an agreement. One soul wants to enjoy infancy and childhood. The other doesn't want that. Usually the wiser soul will, and there'll be a transition. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be near death. It could be overnight, but usually makes a difference in that personality. You still have the memories and everything of the first breath of
Right.
life, but then you move away. And I've discovered that walk-in souls do tend to distance themselves from family and close relationships because they have a
Wow.
different way of working. They're comfortable being in solitude more, that type of thing.
Maybe I am a walk-in. No, but I
Yeah.
still have, I love my family.
You love
But
your family. Yeah.
but Ruth talked when she talked about it, she said people will notice a sudden change in the personality of that person.
Yes, there is a lot of that. For instance, I always use this example. You'll go to sleep hating broccoli, waking up loving broccoli, and it's those the little things that move you. And so your idea of how the world runs is totally different. So of course your opinions are going to change and everything. And I am writing another book. It's a fiction book, another one, but it's about when you're a new walk-in. So your new show very confusing because you should be aligned here and look forward to the family reunion, but yeah.
Was that walk-in always kind of with you though throughout your life and then it takes over?
Oh yes. Yeah, because they have to be totally aligned, just like with a mother carrying a baby. You have to that event has to be totally aligned the whole time for it to manifest in 3D
Right.
and have a baby. So the same thing, they know everything. And it usually shifts when the first breath of life is struggling with life in kind of big ways, and then that shift has to be really quick in so it stays in alignment and then
Okay.
goes on. But then I'm not saying I should say this. I'm not saying that every walk-in doesn't like their family at all,
Right.
but there is a change, and it's how accommodating that family is to the
Okay.
change. Because also a walk-in when they second breath of life takes hold, they don't have all the answers. They're
No.
just like they have to play with the density of Earth, just like you and I. And so until what I discovered is that until someone really asks a question and they take time to think about it, that's when the answers come. It's
Wow.
not like they're born with all the answers. And so life synchronizes up certain people to ask certain questions and for you to have a curiosity of
Right.
it. So that's the blessing you have but then you get lots of information at once. And then what do you do with it? You start helping others with
Right. So the United States of America is in a nine cycle?
no, the whole world is.
Okay.
The whole world, because it's 2025. So you add up all those numbers, it's a nine.
Okay. So next year is a one cycle?
Yes.
And what can we expect with that?
So some trial and error. So more people in a nine universal year are starting to take their own corners, like I talked about before, right? Changing their mind. I'm going to define myself as fill in the blank, whatever it is, that aligns with my soul contract and morals and ethics. So that's you stand strong there. There's going to be more people on one side or the other.
Okay.
Either it's going to be of acceptance and expansion, or it's going to be contraction and compartmentalizing your life, right? I hate to say Republicans, because not every Republican is like that, but let's just say it for the record, just for time's sake. So they go by different rules, but the tipping point is happening right now, in the middle of
Right. Right.
2025. And so as we get to the end of this year, you'll become more and more disturbed with what's happening out there if you haven't made your mind up to go to whatever's, stand in the truth that you believe in. And so
Exactly.
with that, there are still people that believe in our administration.
I know, but
And
there's the people who are really going to suffer.
I know, and
Are
that's
the are
that
the
is
red
ahead.
states, and these poor people are there. I keep seeing little blips of people, just the truck drivers are totally in shock by what's going on. All the people, they just said, I didn't vote for him for this, and
Mhm.
he thinks he's Joe Popular. He's not.
I know, but that's what carries them too. That's that 31-4 for sure. Now, people think of karma as good and bad. Um, and and from my perspective as just a pedestrian, when I look at someone doing things to hurt another person, I'm totally against that, right?
Yeah,
But and I'd say, oh, that's bad. But karma is this, it's not good or bad, it's just cause and effect. And if you can keep your energy there as a light worker and just say, oh, that's not good or bad, it's cause and effect. So people make choices every day. It's a perfect system. And so whatever choice you make, there's going to be something else that's reflected back in its same
right.
nature. So the people, I'll just go ahead and pick on like I hate to do it, but like the farmers, and they planted their trust in someone that in the past obviously said that you don't trust me, but they did anyway. That's their choice. That's the cause. The effect is losing their farms. So it's
Exactly.
not good or bad, and it can benefit either way. So it's just information. So when people get to that energy, when they see the news and stuff, you can remain the observer and not the victim. If you
Yeah.
think, oh, this is just information. Yeah, I'm going to get riled up that he hurt that person, but this is just
Well,
information.
that cancer was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Oh
It,
my
it changed my life. And listen, Edgar Casey in his book talks about people who are supposed to do stuff like what I'm doing.
God.
And lots of times they had a bad childhood, which is interesting that he said that because I did.
Absolutely.
And they're supposed to go through that hardship because I was self-destructive. The fact that I'm still here is amazing. But then I got that cancer and bing, I totally made a 180-degree turn. And I even sometimes look at who I was and what I did, and I know you could maybe call it a walk-in, but it's night and day. Night and day.
I haven't been in your records, but I wouldn't be surprised if you had walk-in energy because you're so consistent. It's not like,
Yeah.
and you come across as just being yourself and real and authentic, and your downfalls are out and your good tight days are out. And
I had face surgery and told everybody. And
I love,
people go, why would you do that? Well, Joan Rivers, she used to show everybody what she had done. I said if they want to critique me, they can critique me, but
I admire the hell out of that. I really do. And I'm the same way. Look what I did.
yeah,
Look what
yeah.
it's so wonderful. Right.
But the community is beyond the community that we all deal with. They're freaking fantastic.
Yes, they are.
They're like relatives I never knew I had. I mean,
Mm.
even my moderators, Water Lily,
Oh,
Lisa, Connie,
Bora Bora.
Ness. Oh my
Mm.
God. And they're so smart. If I forgot anybody, I'm sorry. But if when I win the Academy Award, I plan on saying their names.
I love that. I love that.
You know, that psychic who's now deceased, God bless her. She told me when you're pushing 60 on up, you're going to be very sought after. She said I was like a teacher, which turned me off because I never wanted to be a teacher. And she said, I see you on a stage talking to a good amount of people. And I'm thinking Hollywood. When she
Yeah,
told
I
me
would
that
too.
years ago, I'm thinking, ooh, okay. But little did I realize that this was my journey. And when the man said to me, you're going to do a YouTube channel, I mean, I really was like, oh, hell to the no.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he said, you will help calm them down.
I want to just say, remember when you had the impulse, the curiosity, and the momentum to go on stage and be a comedian, though?
Oh, that was a bucket list because I had cancer.
Oh, it was
I hadn't gone
after.
through my transition yet.
I see. Oh my gosh.
So
That's even more.
I had the best time. And Kabir Singh, the comedian that was on You've Got Talent or whatever, wonderful guy. He really liked me. And he took me places comedians only dream about because of the fact that I went up there, girlfriend, with no breasts, no hair. And and it's a lot of young people. And
uh,
I just started talking about having cancer and stuff. And if you can make fun of cancer, I did. And they were busting out. So I had wonderful audiences. But that was a bucket list. I had no
oh,
plans. I
interesting.
had no plans to professionally be a comedian.
Isn't that interesting, though, that you even had the idea
Yeah,
because of the reading, it planted a seed. That's how powerful advisors are. And that's yet you have to remember that every word you speak, it can be filtered in a way that can help or harm, right? And so
right.
I love the way you just dismissed it, and then here you are.
You know, I got to tell you though, the hard part, and I don't know how about you, you probably look at the factors like in a number, well, romance could come this year because of this or that. But the thing I'm not as good at is deciphering when that somebody's coming in. Sometimes I see that it could happen, but that's the question that I can get wrong the most.
Let me tell you there, I'll give you some insight because what are you picking up? The love that's coming in or the energy of the person you're reading
I
for.
often wonder about that.
Because if you tap into that, because I'll read for someone who is trying to get over someone else, so they say who's what's coming in. And a lot of times I see a lot of people coming in, but will you have eyes to see it? You don't
Right,
have room in for that at all. And if you did, it would be so toxic. So,
right.
and don't look at someone else so you're able to leave a person. But what you're picking up is that 'cause I
Yeah,
see so many people available but not have the, I always put it back on the client to do their part, just
right.
have eyes to see them.
Right. And
People don't
also
fall in love
don't make
every
it
day.
define you because even if you met that Mr. or Mrs. Wonderful,
Mhm.
they can be gone in a twinkling of an eye. I
Mhm.
mean, there's a lot of people I read that can't get over someone. But I've been married 3 times and I always thought Mr. Wonderful was out there for me. But at the now who I am, absolutely, it's not an anger or pushing away. I am so comfortable in my spot, and it's a beautiful thing to not sit and think, oh, it's Friday night, I don't have a date.
Yes.
I used to just focus on, I always had all these big romances. This girl's dance card was full back in the day. And I can tell you that I have great friendships, but I'm not interested in any kind of romance or anything. I have my children that, keep me busy.
That's
And
exactly the Nine of Pentacles right there in a nutshell. It's a person that is comfortable being who they are and who
yes.
they're with. And so they don't need another person. They choose another person. And that's
However, Gerard Butler walked through the door. We may be talking something else.
good on you. Snag that bad boy first.
Do you know he was born in 1969 and he's a Scorpio, November 13th. And I just realized last night, I mean, I'm not like crushing where I can't think of what to do. But he's never been married, so he's definitely independent. But I thought to myself, that Scottish man, and he's Scottish,
Yeah.
that Scottish man that I was with in Edinburgh, he was born in 69.
Oh, really?
So I thought, well, you can take on the younger kin.
Oh gosh, it's so fun to do comparisons. It's so fun to get older, and as long as there's not so much pain, that
Yes.
it's
And the part of the reason I'm supposed to be doing this, the work that I'm supposed to be doing here, is to tell people this too shall pass.
yeah.
Don't be phobic. Don't sit and think, oh my God, we're going to be destroyed. What we need to worry about is taking care of our neighbor because ecologically, we're going through some pretty big stuff.
hmm And we
So
get to choose differently. When you have anxiety, it's oh, I can't choose the way I want to, so this outside stuff has to change to
give
accommodate.
it no power over you.
Yeah.
And like I say, Satan stand behind me because there's a lot of evil going on right now. And you just stand in your own glory and know this too. But help your neighbor, help your friends as
hmm
best as you can. And we all gather together as a group on these shows so we can all, even though as we're reading and we're seeing probably some good news about some resolution, it
Right.
just gives people a little peace. Because if you stand in that fear, you go into a state of resistance.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. That's where I think this, um, if you're able to have just a mantra or a slogan or a bumper sticker that you can, when you feel yourself spiraling into the fear part, if you can say something, oh, that's what Deborah was talking about during her reading, or oh, Linda was saying that. Oh, that's right. That's what you can say in your head to keep you as the observer.
There you
It's
go.
the only way you're going to stay young,
The only
Susan.
way you can survive.
I mean, it's
Jesus, we could have been in the 1800s where people's children didn't live to be past a year old,
hmm
where it was so tough to be alive and you had a handmaid, us women had to boil clothes and
hmm
It was a tough world,
I don't think
but
we could
we
survive.
emotionally and spiritually regain momentum as we go along.
We are so blessed here, but I know I would not have, if I was back there now, I wouldn't survive. That'd be too hard.
Not, but you're talking about in your frame of mind now, you could picture, but when you were, if you were born, which we probably were born in other centuries, um, our family and the background with that would determine who we were.
Exactly, because there was, as far as reincarnation and contracts, bindings, pacts, all of those things that we used to do a lot of as souls prior to incarnating on Earth, on this reality, because we needed to make sure that we fulfilled what we're supposed to be doing on
Right.
Earth during this incarnation. So if you were born a farmer, you died a farmer. Not so much these days.
No, no.
Not so much. So, or having to have children and things like that. Not so much.
Well, girlfriend, can you believe it? Nearly an hour has gone up here.
Oh, that's
Is
wow.
there anything else I'm going to post your stuff? How big of openings do you have for readings?
I'm open every day. I have I don't my life is so perfect. Every day is fine for me. For reading.
Okay.
I don't have a line, but on my calendar there's some I have my hours available. Don't let that bother you. Just go ahead and text me if you say, "Hey, I can't do this." I'll schedule it from the other way. So I'm open, I'm here and ready.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Let
much.
us know when your book comes out too.
I will. I will absolutely. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, you guys, for
Thanks,
watching.
everyone.
We'll catch you on the other side.
Right.
Cheers.